Welcome back in, Cougar Nation, on this Monday evening. Hope all of you are having a fantastic start to your week. Mitch Harper here with you at Broadcast House. This show is sponsored by Central Bank, and if you ever miss the program, subscribe to the podcast. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Check it out on KSLSports.com or wherever you get your podcast. Expecting to be joined by Matt Biamonte coming up here shortly. Matt away, do some family priors he had to attend to, so we'll check in with Matt here shortly. But I wanted to get your calls, Cougar Nation, 801-575-8255. Load them up right here. During this segment, we'll talk some BYU football. And I want to ask you this question. Are you feeling more confident about this BYU team winning the Big 12 after that win over Oklahoma State? We're getting a few texts, but I want to hear some phone calls right now. 801-575-8255. I'll tell you, and I got a text here in the opening segment. I said that I feel like BYU should be around 7 or 8 in the AP Top 25 poll. Texter 5891, or excuse me, 2318 said BYU is not a number 7 team right now. Why? Tennessee's number 7 right now. They're 6-1. Tennessee lost to Arkansas. Arkansas beat Oklahoma State. BYU beat Oklahoma State. Like, you can play this. I know that's the transitive property thing, but college football is, there's so much parity in the sport. The transfer portal, NIL, it's created this situation where the 12-team playoff era has arrived in the perfect time because there are so many teams that can win and operate at a high level. BYU's got talent. I think people are falling victim too much to just looking at the logo and looking at the recruiting rankings and thinking, there's no way BYU can be a top 10 team. Why not? Why not? This offensive line is really good. You're getting production from Bruce Mitchell, Austin Leausa, players that no one was talking about coming into the season. They're performing at a high level. Oklahoma State's got good personnel, and you took their best shot. You know, Oklahoma State was coming out of a bye, and they threw a lot of different looks at BYU, as we expected they would. I mean, Mike Gundy teams are excellent coming out of bye weeks. Last year, they took down Kansas State. When they were 2-2 out of the bye, they took down the Wildcats and got a big win that changed the entire outlook of their season. So I think that was a really impressive win. I get tired of just when you have a close win, people then think, oh, you're not that good. Just find a way to win. Survive and advance. That's all that matters, because with a 12-team playoff, you're going to get in that field and you're going to have a chance to compete for the playoff. But I do think that the AP pollsters are sleeping on BYU. I was impressed, though, that they did rank BYU higher than Notre Dame. I was surprised by that. It's well-deserved, because Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, who's been a terrible football team this year. They're only 4-3. The Huskies are. So I'm glad that the pollsters got that right. But usually you just look at those logos and think, oh, Notre Dame's going to be better than BYU. Always right. I'm glad that people saw through that. Kalani Sitake, though, is not getting caught up in the outside noise, that's for sure. But he does acknowledge that win against Oklahoma State, it was good for the program.
We just got to keep improving, getting better. But can't deny the opportunity for us to celebrate the win. It was good for the program, good for our team, good for the offense, and good for the players.
It was a good win for BYU, and it does give me more confidence that this team is built to win a Big 12 championship, that's for sure. 801-575-8255. You can get on the phone lines with us and load them up here. 801-575-8255. Are you more confident that BYU can win a Big 12 title after that performance over Oklahoma State? We can get out to Linda. Linda, what's on your mind?
Oh, I am definitely confident that we'll win the Big 12, hopefully. I'm hoping. And I got my fingers crossed. That game the other night was a fantastic game. I loved it. And I managed to stay awake and listen to the whole thing, and I was so glad. That was just fantastic at the end when Jake was running for the touchdown, and then he threw it, and then the Lassiter got it. Oh, that was so good. Darius Lassiter. That was wonderful.
That it was. Thanks for the call, Linda. Appreciate that. That moment from Darius Lassiter was pretty special. And Lassiter's become a really good football player for BYU. I don't think anyone thought of him as a wide receiver number one, and I still wouldn't put him as that. I'd still say Chase Roberts is the best receiver on this team, but you can't deny that Darius has improved significantly. I think you're looking at him potentially as a guy that, maybe could be an undrafted free agent, high priority, maybe 7th-round draft pick. It's tough for wide receivers because there's just so many good pass catchers in college football that it's hard to imagine if you don't have the elite measurables to be an NFL guy. But Lassiter's highly productive. He's still got to tighten up those drops, though, a little bit. But I love what I'm seeing from Darius Lassiter. We're getting some more text, though. Keep calling in, 801-575-8255. BYU should be cautious, 5134 writes. They are always hot midway through the season and let it go to their heads. Stay hungry and humble. That's an interesting point. I will say, on Friday it was kind of interesting to me. I saw like a wave of BYU players posting, personal images of themselves in their football gear on Instagram. And I'm, look, it's just an Instagram post, right? It's just social media. You're killing time to the late night kick. It's an 8:15 kick on a Friday. They're at the team hotel at the Marriott off Center Street. I get it. You're looking to kill the day, but I'm kind of wondering, are they getting a little bit into the loving the likes, the engagement, the interaction that winning is bringing to this team? Is that getting a little bit to them? Maybe that caused them to come out a little bit flat, maybe. But I do like the mindset, though, of this team. I do. And I think they've got good leadership. Kalani's pointed to that quite a bit. But I do believe that this team is in a good place mentally. And I think it was a nice little bit of a wake-up call that you've got to get a lot better, particularly on the defensive side. The ground attack for Oklahoma State was highly productive. They had more than 260 yards against BYU's defense. And I do attribute some of those new looks. The quarterback run game was unexpected. No one was seeing Alan Bowman taking off and running. First off, he wasn't expected to start. And then when he comes in, he's still running the football. That was unexpected. And that's just classic Mike Gundy for you at Oklahoma State, the head coach of the Pokes. And Mike Gundy notes, when he talked about the Big 12 and this race, anyone can beat anyone in the Big 12.
Oh, I've said it for a couple years, and I've said it in the summer, and I'll say it again. I think that any team in this league is vulnerable on any day. I think that there's guys in this conference that know how to coach football, and there's players in this conference that know how to play. And based on how the ball bounces and a turnover or two, just about anybody can beat anybody, in my opinion.
Good stuff there from Mike Gundy. I thought he was pretty candid in the post-game press conference. You can see that full presser if you missed it on the KSL Sports YouTube. Texter 6168 says, I like the thought of the transitive properties and playing the who beat who game, but using the eye test and your honest heart, not a biased one. But honestly, do you think BYU beats Tennessee and deserves a number 7 ranking? Look, BYU would probably be an underdog. I'm referencing Tennessee as the number 7 team in the country, but keep in mind, Tennessee's best defensive player was a former BYU guy until he got injured, Keenan Pili. So it's not like BYU doesn't have talent. Like BYU guys that transfer and go to these higher programs, they become studs for these programs. BYU's got talent. So much of college football is based on narrative, and they can't stomach the idea that a new face might be, ruffling the feathers of the structure of the sport. Like, oh my gosh, someone from the outside the SEC and Big Ten might be good. Like Iowa State has a close call against a athletic, talented UCF team, not a great UCF team, but they have a close call and they drop. Like that just doesn't compute to me why we see that in the sports. Like you win a football game against a Power 4 team, you should be rewarded and commended for that instead of, no, we're going to drop them because, well, that logo's better than this one, and we like that one better, so we're going to put them higher. Like, why not? Square it all. Let's see BYU and Tennessee in a playoff game. I think BYU would show up quite well. BYU has passed every test they've faced so far to date. SMU's 6-1 in the ACC. They have a chance to go win the ACC. That was a good win. So BYU's playing some good football. I think that in college football today, anyone can go down on any given week, and the same can be said about the Big 12, and that's why BYU has a great chance to win the Big 12 conference, but at the same time, they got to be playing their A game every single week in order to win that conference. Let's take a break, though. News, traffic, and weather. Then we'll get to Matt Baiamonte next for what's trending up and trending down with BYU football.